issue, um, even down to every employee, every subordinate feel it's being that or having that mindset. How can business survive, or what strategies can they implement? So this week on Business Breakfast on Z, we want to look today. Sorry, on Business Breakfast on Z, we want to look at cyber security and
I'm well, thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, so let's dive straight into the conversation. In simplest term, what is cybersecurity?
Okay, thank you once again for this opportunity. In the simplest terms, cybersecurity is just about keeping our digital world safe, just like how we lock our doors and then protect ourselves and all that. With the way digitalization is increasing globally, it
Mm,
is important that we protect everything we do because data is expensive and data is worth protecting. So it just is about keeping our digital lives safe. Yeah.
right, right. So let's just list a few of some of the cybersecurity dangers before we dive into the conversation so that our listeners will know what we are talking about, right? So when it comes to cybersecurity, some of the dangers in there are looking at blackmail, right?
Yes.
Um some and then also do we can we also classify hate messages as a cybersecurity threat?
Yes, we can.
What about momo pin issues?
Yes, they all fall under cyber attacks.
Exactly. And what about romance scams? Can we also call that? I just want our listeners to have a broader understanding of what we are talking about before we dive into the conversation. So, can you also classify that as a cybersecurity threat?
Yes, it's because most of the people involved in that are always like trying to trick the other party into getting money from them and all that. So we can classify that.
Awesome. Now that our listeners is from a cybersecurity expert, so we all now understand or know what we are talking about. Now, how about um, when you look at antivirus protection, at least something we know, like, okay, let me have this antivirus protection on my PC or laptop, but how is that different from cybersecurity?
Okay, so antivirus is just one tool in the wider world of cybersecurity.
Okay.
So in this case, we'll think of antivirus as the guard in front of your door, right, or your house, who checks who comes in, who goes out, and everything.
Mm.
But cybersecurity is the whole system. That is the doors you put in place, the alarms, the cameras, and even the training you give people. So we'll say cybersecurity covers people, processes, and technology, not just the viruses. The viruses is just an aspect of it.
Okay. Okay. So it's just one aspect. So we can't classify it as something to look at, or no one should think that antivirus protection that's it. There's more to cybersecurity than just that.
Exactly.
Okay, great. We're having a conversation here. So, what? Why is cybersecurity also a business issue? Because you know that for every organization, unlike an individual, where you have your own your personal um, social platform or your personal email. Now, when it comes to organizations, they always have the IT experts in there. But
Yeah.
why is cybersecurity a business issue and not just, something related to tech?
Okay. So cybersecurity affects the whole business.
Okay.
Once an organization experiences
Hello. Hello, Wanda. Okay, so while we try to get Wanda back on air, I think that what she's basically trying to get us to understand is that as a business, you still need to have some high level of protection. Now, cybersecurity threats can come in any form, in any way. And if you have employees, if you have senior management, or if you have the software, if you have any high level tech, it is for you as an organization to ensure to look or to look at it and say that I do not have to leave the door open, like we said initially during our business brief segment. You do not want to just look at it and think that, okay, I'm okay, I have this expert here, and that's it. It goes beyond that. And we also listed a few potential threats. Where we are looking at blackmails, we are looking at, you know, the digital infiltrations of hackers and all that. So if you're listening to us, just know that this conversation is for you to look at all the areas or the things that you need, or the things that can protect you from some of these cyber threats, because it's a growing
Hello.
market. The digital market is a growing market now. Okay, awesome. We have Wanda back online. Hi, Wanda.
Hi, sorry about that. My internet.
That's okay. That's okay. Um, is this why we say Ghana we day? Okay, so I think we're talking about why cybersecurity is why cybersecurity is a business issue and not just technology issue.
Yes. So should I come again?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I was saying that cybersecurity is a business issue because once the company gets attacked, it affects the whole business, not just the IT team, not just computers.
Right.
Um, because a breach can lead to financial loss, downtime, angry customers, damaged reputation, and even lawsuits because you can get sued once data that's not supposed to be leaked is leaked. So leaders need to see it as part of business survival, and just like how they pay close attention to finance, marketing, customer service, and other departments. Yeah.
Okay, so then how do you explain cybersecurity to someone with zero tech background?
Okay, so I would say, I mean, my favorite analogy is using the lock your doors. So I'd say
Okay.
in the same way you like to protect yourselves out there, you like to protect your homes from thieves and everything. It's the same way you'd have to um, it's the same way you have to how do I put it? It's the same, yes. So when we come online, it's just the same way. The same
Mm-hmm.
way you wouldn't leave your doors open, cash on the counter, or even maybe customers' records lying around. When we
Right.
come online, cybersecurity is the same thing. It is the locks, the safes, and practices that keep your digital shop or your homes safe from thieves and vandals here.
Okay. So would you say that Ghanaian businesses are at risk of some of these cyber attacks? And if you have any example, you can kindly cite them for us.
Okay, so yes, because the more digitalized you become or a country becomes, the higher the probability of being scammed.
Hmm.
And because Ghana is going more digital with mobile money, e-commerce, and cloud services, it means attackers see opportunity to ban SMEs, and even schools are targets. Cyber crime or cyber attacks, it has no borders. So businesses here are as much as risk as anywhere else here.
So then, would you say that the project that our our dear President John Mahama, initiated for the training and all the investment is pushing into the cybersecurity, or the tech sector. Would you say that's a good thing to also help in protecting our system and training more cyber experts in the country? Would you, in your opinion, say that is one of the key things that can help us?
Yes, yes, I would say that because training is one of the best way to make people know about it and know how not to fall into the traps of scammers and intruders. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay. Now, do hackers really target small and would you say that apart from big businesses, would you also say that hackers target small and medium enterprises?
Yes, I would say that. So, of course, many people think hackers only go after banks or big multinationals or like just the bigger organizations. But the truth is, the small and medium businesses are mostly the first targets, and sometimes they are even the easiest. And these are, I'll give some reasons why I think um,
Mm-hmm.
hackers target the small and medium enterprises. So, first of all, it's because most of the small and medium businesses, they have weaker defenses.
Right.
They don't have dedicated IT or big security budgets or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then also they hold the same valuable data as big firms because, like I said, data is data and data is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if you're a big company, if you're a small company, for as long as you hold data, that means you hold something valuable.
Right. Okay.
Also, I would say attackers often use small businesses as larger partners in the supply chain. So once they break through a small business, it's easy for them to maybe target all the other partners the business might be working with.
Mm.
So here in Ghana, cybercrime losses as of 2024, it was reported to be over 23 million. But many of those losses hit smaller organizations that weren't prepared. And I think that's why MTN has even warned that SMEs are prime targets for phishing and impersonation scams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So, I mean, you said something earlier that we are in a growing digital space. So,
Yeah.
what, in your opinion, or I mean, if it's stated or if there's any data somewhere, what types of attacks are rising fastest now, especially in Ghana or in Africa right now? What are some of the cyber attacks that is, rising the fastest?
So the most common one is phishing and the mobile money fraud.
Okay.
So even though like ransomware is also a bit on the rise, especially against businesses that rely heavily on data, phishing and mobile money are the fastest attacks that are rising at the moment. Phishing and mobile money fraud, I mean.
Okay. Okay. So that's so fishing and Momo, right? And
Yes.
for you see, I don't know if that we need more education, especially when it comes to the um, Momo bits, because MTN has the other. I think it's only MTN. MTN has
Yeah.
you know published a press release. They've put out messages, and there's been a lot of conversations about Momo pins and all that, but it's still happening. So would you say that the education is not strong enough? I just want to hear your opinion on that. Would you say that dedication to get people to better understand it's not strong enough, or people are just being, for the lack of a better word, ignorant about the whole system?
So I think people have just not realized how serious the whole cyber attack, cyber security is. And also, even though trainings are ongoing, I think most of the people who are extremely vulnerable are mothers and our fathers who don't really understand this whole thing. So
Yeah.
even though there are trainings, everything, sometimes it's not even done in a way that they understand, maybe with pictures, maybe with in their local dialects and everything. Because if you go to someone like a market woman who probably can't speak English and you are talking about cybersecurity, she will be lost.
Mm.
And they are the ones who mostly are very vulnerable in this case because when someone calls them and tells them something small, by the time you realize they've given their pin out because they don't even know what's going on. So, in as much as MTN is putting in the work, maybe you should focus more on using um, the local dialects and maybe pictures or videos to explain things to make them understand things better.
Yeah, and talk about that. You mentioned that persons within the informal sector need more education, but you'd be surprised that even those within the formal sector are also being scammed. Because I remember my mom had an experience where she was called that she won a prize. I think it was MTN was running a promo or something. Was there a promo or a prize? Something that you're going to win cash prize and all that. So she was called that she's won a cash prize and she didn't, you know, apply whatsoever. But she believed that maybe, it happened by chance and she came excited, that I should talk to the person. And they were asking her to send an amount so that she can come in and get her prize. You see, but
Mhm.
she being overwhelmed with the excitement, overlook I mean the other bits that these are probably, hackers or cyber fraud guys who are just trying to, you know, extort money from her. So it was when we asked them to deduct the amount from the main price that she won, then, they had to just back out and all that. So it's just to say that I believe that some persons within the formal sector are also, experiencing some of these things. They are not aware just because of the excitement. And I think that the age group also, matter because
Yeah.
if like the baby boomers and those older, they because of the excitement will also fall short of some of these threats. I don't know what you think, if you can share that as light on that as well.
I totally agree with you that even those in the formal sector also fall for this.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it, but for lack of a better words, I'll just say maybe because people like Adefode, it's something of that sort.
Exactly.
So anytime they receive a message, maybe you want something and all that. I
Mm.
mean, who doesn't like free stuff? So they just get all excited and then most times just fall for it. But that is why even though there's training, it may not be enough and we'll have to put in more efforts in making sure that we explain to people how serious cyber security or cyber attacks are and how best they can they may not fall for it. Yeah.
Mm. Right, right. Okay. So let me not even say that my mom is listening to us right now. So I don't know if she was just having that, Adolfo kind of feel, but she'll call after the show. So what would you say is the true cost of cyber attack beyond whatever the person lost, whether it's money or the platform? What would you say is the true cost of cyber attack?
um for maybe are you talking about like individually or
Individual or the organization. Though we are
organizational wise?
looking at businesses today, but you can touch on individuals as well.
Okay, so I mean, on businesses, the true cost of cyber attack on businesses, aside the money lost, your the businesses may face some downtimes. That means like maybe the systems or websites may go off. That means they might not be able to work. And you may also get fined because once customers' data is exposed, businesses can like the customers can decide to sue you or take you to court or something. And also you will lose customer trust. So
Mm.
even if no money is stolen, customers may leave because they might feel they are not safe with your organization,
Yeah.
and reputation takes long to rebuild. So once it's broken, it will take a very long time to rebuild that. Also, I can say staff stress and productivity loss. So once a business is attacked, employees will suddenly feel like the pressure because they'll have to respond to the breach, they'll have to recover systems, they'll have to deal with anxious customers. And all that can affect the efficiency and the morale of the employees. So yeah,
Awesome. Now, I like the fact that you mentioned customer trust, and which is something that is very key for every organization.
yeah.
Now, if you are found wanting or you experience a cyber attack, what should be the next call of action in order to, protect your customers or maintain the customer trust? What would you think will be the next call of action for every business?
So once you experience a cyber attack, I would like to use MTN as an example. When in
Right.
April they experienced like attacks and all that, aside everything that was going on, MTN came out to talk about it and to assure customers that they were working on it. So I think one of the best things you can do is, instead of trying to hide the issue and make it look like nothing is wrong, it's best for you to come out and talk about it openly, and also let them understand that you are putting measures in place to make things better. Yeah.
Yes. Now, with that kind of communication, do you think time is a factor? Because would you say that address it immediately or give it time before you address such an issue?
So um, I would say you can talk. I think this one it will depend on it will depend on what exactly happened, or it will depend on the seriousness of the attack.
Yeah.
If it's an extremely serious incident that can make you lose even shareholders and all that, I believe it's best to come out immediately to like I believe it's best to start working on it immediately, and also to come out and tell your shareholders and your customers what exactly is happening in the moment and how you are working towards resolving the issue at hand.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, you being a cyber security advocate, I'm sure some of the policies that are published. Now, is there a data protection regulation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so before that, there's even the Cybersecurity Authority published the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy last year. But
Yes.
aside that, there's the Ghana Data Protection Act, which protects the privacy of individuals regulating regulating the collection, processing, and then the storage, and also the sharing of personal data by organizations. So
Mm.
yeah, there are
Right.
some policies in place.
Okay. So, if a company fails to comply with these regulations, are there some consequences?
Yes, there are some consequences. So in Ghana, once a company fails to comply with data protection rules, the Data Protection Commission, they can impose fines on them, but in very extreme cases, they can revoke the company's right to process personal data.
Okay. Okay. Have you experienced any of these before? I mean, where an organization, faltered and I mean, not to mention the organization's name, but we just want to know some of the consequences that are laid down for some of these flaws.
Can you come again, please?
The question is, do you have any example of a consequence that a company had to bear because of their negligence or not complying with the regulations, the data protection regulations? In other words, what are some of the consequences that they face? Is it jail time? Is it a query? Is it a letter?
So yes, so that's why I spoke about earlier that like fines, they are made to pay some amount of money,
Okay.
but in extreme cases, they revoke the company's right to process personal data.
Okay, sorry. I think then we missed that. Sorry about that.
Mm,
Now, if as a business, or if,
yeah.
even, yeah, let me just, whether a business, a big business or an entrepreneur, why should they care about cybersecurity? In your
Oh,
opinion, why should anyone care about it?
so in my opinion, I I believe business leaders should care about cybersecurity because it affects the survival of the entire business. So because the survival of the business depends on it, it isn't just an IT glitch or maybe computer problems. It can stop operations, it can cost money, and it damages your brand. And because leaders are the ones who set the tone or they are the pace setters in the organizations,
Mm.
if they do not prioritize cybersecurity, then there's no way employees will also prioritize it. So they have to start showing commitment from the top to ensure that the whole organization takes it serious.
Okay. Now, you said leaders should set the tone, right?
Yes.
So, with that, how can leaders set the tone in terms of cybersecurity awareness and ensuring that their subordinates or staff take cybersecurity seriously?
I'd say by following good practices, like the normal practices we know, set strong and unique passwords, update your systems, enable two-factor authentication and all that. Also, they should invest in training and talk about the risk of cybersecurity openly instead of trying to hide it. Once the leaders follow that, it's easier for the staff to also abide by it and then follow the steps of the leaders.
And who would you say should be responsible for that? Do you think it's just the IT person's role, or everyone is responsible?
Everyone is responsible because if you do not, if maybe you're a customer service personnel and you do not use a strong password or enable two-factor authentication,
Mm.
the hackers might use your PC, like they might hack you, your system to get access to everybody or
Mm.
everything about the organization. So everybody is, it's not just an IT issue. Everybody plays a major role in this.
And what would you say should be the steps any business should take in protecting itself? Maybe like two or three steps any business should take in order to protect itself.
Okay, so the first one
Mm-hmm.
is to use strong passwords, strong and unique passwords, and also to change their passwords all the, like whenever their password requires to be changed or updated. They shouldn't be repeating used passwords. Also, they should keep their softwares and their systems updated. They should back up their data regularly. And also training of employees to spot phishing and all those other scams.
Okay. Please, if you can help our listeners understand what phishing is, can you just briefly tell us what phishing is?
Okay, so phishing is simply when scammers pretend to be a trusted source. So they can pretend to be your bank, your organization. They can even pretend to be the website you buy from, or even a friend,
Yeah.
just to trick you into giving away your personal details.
Mm. So
Yeah,
talk
that's phishing.
about, yeah, exactly, and I think we've had various cases of phishing, and I think recently we even heard um, about the FBI, United States of America's FBI coming into Ghana to arrest certain, you know,
Yes,
um,
yes,
you know,
yes.
allegedly. Well, if you see,
Allegedly, right?
no, I mean in cases like this, and I think that's in one of the points the president made in his recent address about cybersecurity. He talked about staff of financial institutions, you know, um, having to also partake in these activities. And
Mhm.
I mean, so for you talking about, because you made mention that phishing is also where someone will, come in, build trust and all of that. So if within the banking sector, or within the financial institution we have such persons, then how can we say that we can even trust, the financial sector when it comes to confidentiality?
Okay, so since in the banking sector it's just maybe one or two people doing that, mostly I like to say people need to pay attention to the mails they are sent, right? So if someone who works in a bank decides to maybe scam other people or clients or anything, one of the main things we can use to get them is to check the domain. Because if you are working at maybe, I don't want to mention any organization's name, but
Yes, please don't.
yes, so maybe one of the top banks, right?
Yeah.
You can just when like that bank is sending you a mail, the bank's name is the domain. You get it? So the bank's name dot.
Yeah.
But when individuals are the ones doing that, they sometimes end up using their personal email because they don't want to be tracked or something.
Mm.
So one way we can maybe pay attention, or one way we can get rid of this whole thing, or not to fall for this, is by paying extreme attention to the email addresses that are sent, especially the domains. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things to look out for, and this is to all our audiences, when you receive an email or a message from any financial institution or from any big businesses or any individual, you always have to look for the domain name, right? And that will
Yes.
be your evidence that this is from the right source or not. Now, we've heard of two factor authentication,
Yes.
aside having a strong password. So, how important is are they having a strong password and the two factor authentication?
Okay, so two-factor authentication is simply adding an extra lock to the regular lock, right?
Right.
So they are important because even if, let's say, I've used the weak password, and then the scammer or the hacker has been able to access the first one, maybe the second one I didn't use a weak password, so okay, you've had access to the first one, but you will not have access to the second one, and that is how important two-factor authentication is.
Okay.
It is just making sure, or just adding an extra log. So I just use the regular house analogy again. If someone enters your house, maybe the gate, and it is not locked, or the gate was maybe open or something, so the person just had access into their house. Once the person gets to the main house, and the person has, like, your front door has a security gate, a security lock, then the person will not have access into your house, even though they're on the compound or
Mm.
they've had access in. So that's how two-factor authentication works. And that's why it's important.
Okay. Okay. That's great. Now, for every business, and let's take it back to when you talked about every organization having, every individual should look out for the domain of every organization in order to avoid some of this phishing. So,
Yeah.
how can businesses also protect against phishing emails and fake websites? Is it the same way or there's another way?
So for businesses, they would have to teach their. Sorry, can you come again, please?
You said that for individuals, when in order to avoid phishing, one of the
Yeah,
things they can look out for is the domain names of these organizations. All right.
yeah.
Now, on the flip side, as an organization, what are some of the ways to also protect against phishing emails and fake websites? Is it the same checking of domain or there's more?
Well, yes, I would say it's the same, but in this case, they will have to teach their staff to always pause before clicking links or opening attachments, and also to look for most times, when you receive a phishing email or something, you realize that there's something of either a different character
Yeah.
or maybe spelling error or something. And sometimes too, they may use email filters to block suspicious messages.
Okay. And you also talked about having a backup as one of the safety measures. How often should businesses back up their data, and where can they back it up? Just for knowledge sake.
Okay, so businesses, ideally, they are supposed to back up daily, but if they can't, then weekly, at least every week, they should back up their data. And it is important for them to store their backups in two places. So one online, then the other one offline. So offline, maybe they could get an external drive that isn't connected to the internet at all. And
Mm.
also, they shouldn't forget to back up, to test the backups regularly to make sure they work so that when anything happens or an emergency comes up, they can use the ones they've stored offline.
Okay. Okay. And um, when we had a conversation about the two factor authentication. Now,
Yeah.
there are also some experts, and this is one that I have even experienced, where an individual who is a tech expert changes his password every day. So
Well,
with that level of with that level of protection, what would you say, like, how, what level should you be to have to change your password every day? And this is something I've seen myself, so it's not from hearsay or anything. It's something I've experienced, and he's like a top cyber guy that I know.
so I believe maybe because he's a top cyber guy, he's experienced how dangerous cyber attacks are, and he's also experienced maybe how the hackers and scammers are really not joking.
Mm.
And probably that's why he does that all the time.
Yeah. Or probably he's also a hacker himself, so he knows how to protect.
Right. Maybe he knows something he's not telling us.
It's very interesting. It's very. I asked, but anyway, I'll tell you his reason after the show. Anyway, so
Okay.
you're still here on Z101.9 FM. This is Business Breakfast on Z. If you are listening to us on radio, please do not forget to follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook at ZFMGH, and on TikTok, YouTube at zmultimedia.com. If you want to send or share a message, please do so by texting 0544 321019. I repeat, 0544 321019. Or you can also call on 0303 956641. We have a message here from Eben from Kavinya. He says, "Good morning. I I am Eben and I'm listening from Kavinya." So hi Eben, thank you so much for joining us. So Wanda, let's take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we'll look at another side of the conversation. Conversation with Wanda Yaa Anane about cyber security and how businesses can protect themselves, or what businesses should know. Hi Wanda, are you still with me? Are you still with us? Hello Wanda.
Hello, I'm still here.
Okay, awesome. All right. So now let's take it a notch.
Okay.
Um and let's look at the human side of it. Now there are businesses that get attacked and they're unable to continue their business, or they may have to start all over again. Now, let me give an example. An entrepreneur who is selling, maybe say, clothes online, and experiences a hack and is unable to access her social handle. So this person
Yeah.
has, hundreds or tens of thousands of followers, and now is forced to now start all over again, send messages to, you know, clients and all of that. How can something like this affect their business, in your opinion?
Can you please come again?
Businesses get attacked
Yeah.
by hackers. And I give an example of a person within the informal sector, so an entrepreneur who is selling clothes online or has an online shop, and his or her social is hacked and is unable to access his or her socials online. Do you get it?
Yes, I get
So
it.
such a person, the person is forced to either start over all over again, or I don't know if it's able to shut down the person's business. But in such circumstance, what are some of the implications? I think I've even mentioned one already, but what are some of the implications that affect that, impacts such a business?
So, like you said, the person will lose their account. So that means they've lost their clients and everything, and they will have to start again.
Mm-hmm. So
Yes.
apart from
So,
that, is there anything else?
yeah, I think aside that, the stress of having to start over again and all that. Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, it's important that everyone take, the protection of their online platform seriously.
Yes, yes, because recovering from cyber attack requires a lot of processes. So, yeah. Yeah.
So how do cyber criminals trick people? What are some of the ways they use to trick people into giving information?
So they normally use social engineering. So let's just say they play on human trust.
Yes.
So yes, like how they'll just send you an email, or they'll send you a message that creates urgency. And once you receive some of these emails, like maybe your account has been logged, sometimes you don't even think to see if this is correct or this is a scam or something. Because most times you're not even thinking of being scammed. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how trick people into giving their information away, just by social engineering.
Okay. The social engineering, is it a software, or is this the term used for such, operations?
Okay, so it's not a software. It's just people playing on the maybe the intelligence of other people, like or maybe playing with the minds of people. Yeah.
Okay. And how can organizations or companies encourage staff to report such suspicious activities without, you know, any form of holdback?
Okay, so by not playing the blame game.
Okay.
So instead of an employee being punished because maybe he's caused the company to be attacked, they can rather create a culture where people feel free when they make a mistake. So I realized I've opened an email or I've clicked on a link that I shouldn't have. They create an atmosphere where I can come and talk to my boss that this and this and this is what I have done,
Mm,
for them to figure a way to maybe block it faster rather than punishing. Because if you punish, then once I do something of that sort, I obviously won't come and tell you about it.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So having like an open door kind of policy so they can freely report such cases. Is there any other
Yes.
way? Would there be like a department solely for the reports, so that they know that, okay, in cases like this, maybe I have to speak with my supervisor, or there's a department, maybe HR? Do you think they can
Okay,
organizations can also do
yeah,
it?
I think they can create, maybe they can have a specific department, or maybe create an email where someone, maybe someone in the IT department, or maybe HR is in charge of it. So once you make a mistake, you send a mail to the person explaining how it happened, maybe even taking a shot of it and then sending it to them, so they get to see how it actually happened and what they can do to maybe um, what they can do to prevent it from getting worse or something like that, and maybe trainings.
Okay, okay. And talk of HR, I think that we've been talking about IT and all that, but how does the HR department also protect, against insider threats?
Okay, so since we know the role of HR in every organization, I
Mm-hmm.
think we are supposed to also know that HR's role in cybersecurity will go beyond, maybe HR's role in an organization will go beyond just hiring and firing. So they
Right.
can help prevent some of these things by maybe screening the employees carefully,
Mm-hmm.
doing some background checks during hiring, so that it reduces the chances of bringing someone who might misuse the access that the person has been given. They can also promote policies and trainings. So HR can communicate acceptable policies that are used. They can reinforce cybersecurity trainings, and they can also set expectations for the behaviors of the employees. Yeah,
Mm. Okay, great. Now, the new wave, artificial intelligence,
yeah,
is able to create a lot of amazing things. And again, our parents, or say the older folks, are believing some of the things they see AI generates.
yeah.
I had to literally be fighting with some of my uncles and mom and say, "This is not real. This is AI." They said, "But this one, no, it's this, it's that." But it's real. But what? Why do you say this is not? But when they see the real one, they say, "Oh no, this one is AI," because they don't believe you. Now, how is AI or any new technologies? Um, how is it going to change the cybersecurity, you know, landscape?
Okay, so in this case, I'd like to say AI can be a double-edged sword, like in this
Correct.
case,
Correct.
because on the good side, it helps security teams detect attacks faster,
Mm-hmm.
and it also helps them analyze huge amounts of data, and sometimes it helps them stop the threats before they spread. So that's the good side of it.
Mm.
But on the other hand, the criminals or the scammers, they are also using AI too. So now they are able to write like emails that sound very natural. They are also able to use AI to crack passwords in seconds.
Mm.
And so that is the negative aspects of it. So it means that attacks are now becoming more convincing and more automated. In fact, I even heard of a case where a company lost a huge amount of money
Wow.
because the attackers used AI to mimic the voice of a senior executive, and then and they were able to trick the staff into authorizing payment because they didn't think it could be scammers. Like it just never occurred to them.
Mm.
So I believe the fight is no longer people against people. It is now AI versus AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes cyber awareness and basic defenses like the strong authentication and passwords and all that more important than ever. Yeah.
Yeah. But one day you say that, you see, this is also the introductory stage of AI.
Yeah.
There's always an upgrade every year. There's going to be an upgrade, and if we are experiencing this now, how can we protect ourselves? I mean, when AI is now, now it's upgraded and there are more unique features. I mean, taking you know, into consideration the example you just shared about, someone's voice, a leader's voice being used to process, a transaction and all that. So what's the future for us? What does it look like?
The future of cybersecurity
Yes, with AI and all of that, are we safe, or there will be other measures that will protect us?
is mixed, honestly. It's mixed. Yeah, but I think aside everything that we are learning right now, we as individuals also need to learn how AI is used. Though
Yeah.
it's not only about maybe the criminals or maybe just the experts. I believe that as individuals, we all need to learn some basic stuff on AI, like how, and maybe so that maybe in case of anything, you know how to use AI to determine
Detect.
something. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, it has the good side. It helps us maybe analyze the attacks and everything, and it helps us also maybe see the attacks before time, right? Like
Right.
once maybe someone is threatening you with the use of AI, you are able to know that, oh, this is an attack or something. So once we know how to use AI, even if maybe scammers maybe they attack or something, you can also maybe use the same AI to know how to counter the attack.
Right. Right. Okay. Now we also talked about the backup system as one of the protective measures. So
Yeah.
what risk are there? Because I mean, the more we back up, the more the information is in the cloud and all of that. Is there any potential risk in that over time?
Yes. The cloud is powerful. It is powerful and convenient, but it is not risk free.
Okay.
So I
Wow.
think the reason why most breaches happen is because once organizations feel like, oh, we are using the service of maybe this cloud provider or something, they don't do anything extra to protect themselves, forgetting that those other people can also get attacked, right?
Okay.
So some of the risks involved are leaving databases exposed to the internet, and also over reliance on providers,
Hmm.
because once their system fails, it means yours too has failed. In fact, I know someone, a friend of mine who runs like a financial organization, who told me how they lost all their data, like they lost all their data because this cloud providers lost it. And that's at that time they didn't have any backup.
Wow.
Yes. So instead of over relying on them, organizations should also realize that they also have, it is their data, it is important to them, so they need to keep it to themselves, like not keep it to themselves, but like they need to also have another plan in case there's an issue with the cloud service providers.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, apart from the cloud, so will you share any other backup tool that businesses can also use aside the use of the cloud?
I spoke earlier on external drives that are not connected to the internet, so yeah.
Okay. And how should businesses prepare for the future? Because the threats, it won't stop, it will not cease. But how can businesses prepare for future threats?
I believe businesses should focus on resilience, not just defense.
Mm.
So they should build systems that can withstand attacks and then recover quickly. So businesses should also update regularly, test their recovery plans. They should also invest in training, staff training, and all that. And also stay informed about new risks, because their threats, they are unpredictable. You never know when it's going to happen. But being prepared reduces the impact it will have on your business.
Mm. Okay. And what what does cybersecurity, or what will cybersecurity look like in the future? Or um is there any benefits, or what should we look out for when it comes to cybersecurity in the future?
Okay, so the future of cybersecurity is mixed. I said it earlier.
Right.
It's a mix of strong opportunity and then real urgency. Yeah. So in the future, we have to look out for more investment in regulation, more programs to build local talent, expansion of infrastructure like the local data centers, and also innovations that are built for the realities, not like just the realities. And I think that once we get that right, we can leap ahead in digital safety. If not for that, the risk will grow.
Okay. Okay. Now, for any business leader who is listening to us, um, and feels or thinks that they haven't really checked their cyber system, or do not have a strong cyber system, what will be your advice to them as the first simple action to take?
So I'll tell them to start small. as
Okay.
a as a business leader who hasn't maybe paid attention to that, I would say just start small
Okay.
by maybe enabling two-factor authentication on your email and your bank accounts, and make sure that you and your team leaders also use strong and unique passwords, because that one step, it closes off many of the easiest attacks.
Okay. So this is what we call an emergency meeting, so that everyone will be trained, um, in protecting their system, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for everyday Ghanaian also, how can they protect themselves from banking and, online shopping also? How can they protect themselves from, any cyber threats?
So the first one is to avoid public Wi-Fi for financial transactions. I know we all like Wi-Fi and all that, but with the way the threats are, like the attacks are happening and the threats and all that,
Mm,
maybe we should we shouldn't use the Wi-Fi for our transactions. And also, if you want to buy something from maybe a shopping site or something, I believe it's best to use the official apps or their websites. And
okay.
also, double check that the site starts with HTTPS, yeah, because most times they can just change it a bit and you might not see the difference. Yeah.
And wonder, what's one myth about cybersecurity you'd like to debunk?
That one myth I would like to debunk is that it's only the big companies who get attacked,
Right.
because the small and medium businesses, they are often the easiest, but they just maybe they believe they don't like, oh, Nami, what do I have for someone to try to attack me? So maybe it's only the big companies that will get attacked, but nah, for the small and medium businesses, it's so easy to them to get attacked because most of them don't invest in protection. They
Mm,
don't invest in protecting themselves. So
right. So finally, wonder if what's your personal golden rule for staying safe online?
okay, so my personal golden rule is pause before you click. So whenever I receive an email or something, I make sure I pause, I read through. Sometimes I can, when I see the email, I can even close it and then go and do something, come back,
Yeah.
because maybe in the heat of the moment you don't even realize when you tap on the link. So it's always advisable to just pause before you click, because the attacks, they mostly succeed because someone just clicked too quickly. So slowing down to check the source and the link actually saves a lot and prevents a lot of scams.
Right. Pause before you click. Thank you so much, Wanda, for joining us on Business Breakfast on Z. It's been very insightful with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Okay, so you're still here on Z 101.9 FM, and this is Business Breakfast on Z. We meet here every morning, weekday from Monday to Friday, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Do not miss this week's conversation. Today we talked about cybersecurity and how businesses can protect themselves. Tomorrow and the rest of the days ahead, we have even better conversations. Now, for if you're at work, if you're at home, always remember that Z is here to serve you and to help you navigate the business world. Again, my name is Ajo, and I sat in today on behalf of your regular host, Nitrebi Hammond. See you again tomorrow.